Yo, what's going on, guys? HaVoC here now, back. Today we're going to be discussing 17 things only Clash of Clans OGs might remember, part 4. Yes, I changed how the series is called because it started off as 17 things, then 17 more, then 17 even more. What the hell was I gonna do for this episode? 17 even more? So yeah, I changed all of them to now go by episode number. Make sure to go watch the other 3 episodes though, because I see a lot of comments about things that I've already mentioned, so I think it's worth taking a peek if you enjoy these videos. Links will be down below and it'll also be at the end of the video. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Let's do this.
When buildings used to glow red depending on which troop you had selected. You know, I thought this still happened, but maybe I'm crazy. Back in the day when you were attacking someone and you selected, let's say, a wall breaker, well, since the wall breaker attacks walls, the walls would glow red. If you had a giant, all defenses would glow red, and so on. This was a way to show what the troop attacked. Unfortunately, although cool, this was removed probably ages ago, so yeah, I don't know when though. Like I said, I thought this was still a thing, but I guess not. Honestly, I completely forgot about it until I just brought it up right now. Upgraded troops used to have no visual change. This one is probably the most OG thing I'll ever mention. Do any of you remember when upgrading a troop didn't change the skin at all? Yeah, when the game came out, troops didn't change when upgraded, so a level 1 barbarian would look exactly the same as a level 6 barbarian. Now, don't worry if you don't remember because it was only like this for an incredibly small time frame. The game came out in August 2nd of 2012, right? And upgraded differences was introduced on September 19th of 2012. So about a month later. If you were playing within that first month of the game's global launch, you may remember this and are a certified OG. More old sounds. This isn't anything in particular, but rather I decided to combine a lot of old sounds from back in the day that some of you may or may not remember. I think I did something similar to this in a previous episode as well, but now we have more sounds that some of you may remember. So the first one is the OG barracks training sounds. Then we have the wizard, and then the Valkyrie. Yeah, I miss those days. Being in a high league and getting tons of invites from global. Yo, for some reason, once I stepped into global, I felt like a god because people treated you like a god. If you were in Masters League or Champions League, you were automatically invited to every clan. It's so weird to think about now because it feels like everyone has at least reached champions, right? It's so like easy. I mean, of course, global isn't around either to experience this. So I guess all we can do is remember. Just remember those days when Masters League was like a big deal and everyone invited you in global. Staying online 24/7. I'm surprised we haven't talked about this one yet. Yes, in the early days of Clash of Clans, you could literally stay on 24/7 if you wanted to. In fact, that's exactly what many players did. But why though? Well, by staying online 24/7, you could push trophies and go higher and higher without having to go offline and lose trophies from being attacked. It was widely exploited until you couldn't do it. In May of 2013, this is when they introduced the personal break feature, so now you couldn't simply be on all the time. You had to forcibly get off, like the game would force you to get off. Pretty smart way to combat the issue. Decoration funneling. Did you know that back in the day, people used to use decorations as a funneling tactic? Yeah, me neither, but I'm sure some of you oldies will. So in the previous episode, I mentioned how you couldn't deploy anything on decorations. But people took this further and started to place decorations in specific areas where they didn't want the enemy to deploy anything. In doing so, the enemy would place troops in a specific area, and that area would either have a trap or would encourage the AI to walk a specific path. Like I said, I personally didn't know this, so I don't know too much about it, but a YouTuber by the name Simon Tay once did an explanation video on this. I think it was like in 2012. Speaking of Simon Tay, do you guys remember that guy? Man, one of the greatest OGs. When the king used to be 10,000 Dark Elixir and the queen 40,000 Dark Elixir. This was the hardest grind ever. I'm telling you, When you finally got to Town Hall 7, the king was 10,000 Dark Elixir, and you also had no drill. But both the king and queen have since been cut in half. So the king is now 5,000 and the queen is 20k. It may not seem like such a huge cost reduction, but every upgrade is also cheaper than before, and today it's also easier to get Dark Elixir. I know it may not seem like such a prominent thing to mention, but trust me, this is very nostalgic. Getting these heroes back in the day was just such a grind, and I don't feel like it is nowadays. North 44, Quantum's Web, Bond B Canada, Mega Empire, King's Rock. Do these sound familiar to you OGs? Okay, fun fact, when I was in the leaderboards, oh my god HaVoC, we know, you were in the leaderboards, not like you've said it 20 times by now. Okay, hang on now. Yes, I say it a lot, but we're talking about OG things here, and this happened way back. So anyways, like I was saying, I was actually in King's Throne for a few months, and then I graduated and joined King's Rock. Good times, good times. Very cool people, by the way. And I was also the youngest in there. I don't know, I was like 15. Anyways, these clans still exist, obviously, but at one point, no clan could take #1 from these clans. These were the kings of the leaderboards, and they held their positions for years. It really takes me back thinking of the old days. Man. When you had your level next to your name in the chat. Okay, this may not seem like such a significant thing to remember, but it's older than a lot of you think. So when the game came out, there were no leagues. If you watched the previous episodes, well, that may be pretty obvious. But in every picture you see, even if it's from like 2014, there's always a league badge next to your name. This is because leagues were added on April of 2013. Yeah, it's been 8 years since we've seen our levels displayed in the chat. Whoa, 8 years. God damn. Yeah, we're getting old. The old healer. There's been a lot of troop changes over the years, but in every episode, I like to take a look at least one of them. So when discussing this topic with Marika, a community manager of Clash of Clans, she let me in on some pretty funny stuff. So the first healer design was this one. You know, this is the OG one. This is the one that was the first one, okay? Then she was changed to this one, where Marika explained to me that people didn't like it very much because it looks like she hit a wall at high speed. I don't know why that's so funny. Then it changed to the one we all know today. Pretty cool journey, eh? When farming didn't exist. What do you hear when you think of farming? A lot of you OGs might remember of us putting the town hall outside. I mentioned this in a previous video, and that's not the point of this. The point of this is, did you know that when the game came out, nobody put their town hall outside? Like, farming like that didn't exist? Even though you could put your town hall outside and get a free shield, people didn't do that? Why? Well, it turns out that this form of farming didn't even exist until like November of 2012. When people made videos about farming in 2012, everyone's town hall was inside, and it's so weird. This is just one of those things that if you know what I'm talking about, you know. That time, you used to lose everything you had from higher players. You know how every time you upgrade your town hall, you cannot get the same amount of loot you used to from bases under you? Well, this wasn't always the case. At one point in time, if you were a town hall 6, being attacked by a max town hall 8, he could take the same amount of loot a player that was town hall 6 attacking you would also get. So it didn't matter how high the player attacking you was, they would all see the same loot available. Of course, this was fixed because it was just terrible, so yeah. Town Hall 10 only having one Inferno Tower. In a previous episode, we mentioned how Town Hall 9 upon release had one Expo. Well, do any of you remember when this was also true for the Inferno Tower? Yeah, when Town Hall 10 came out, you could only build one. Now, it wasn't a very long time though, it took about a month for them to add another. Still, it's incredibly weird thinking of a time when Town Hall 10 only had one Inferno Tower. iOS chat glitch. I remember I mentioned this in like a top glitches video, but basically there was a glitch with devices running on iOS at the time, and it would make the entire game crash. Now obviously this wasn't the game's fault, but I'm sure a lot of you can remember when this happened a very long time ago. Basically, this character would crash iOS devices. So of course, trolls would put this character in clan chats or clan mails. Like, why? Every time someone looked at the chat, the game would crash. It was a little ridiculous, but luckily Apple ended up fixing the issue and yeah, everyone went home happy, I think. Attack ending after losing connection. You know how nowadays the game just kinda keeps doing its thing even if you lose connection? Well, it wasn't always like this. At one point when the game was still fairly new, if you closed the game or lost connection, the attack you were doing would immediately stop, and whatever percentage you had or whatever loot you had gotten, well, that's what you went home with. Obviously this was frustrating to some players because sometimes it wasn't their fault, so eventually the developers implemented a feature to keep your attack going even if you went offline. And it's a pretty helpful feature. Long Android wait times. Supercell usually tests their games in a manner of a soft launch in specific countries on iOS. When the game globally launches, you can usually download it on Android too. But that wasn't the case for Clash of Clans. This may be pretty obvious if you were trying to play at the time on your Android device, or you watch a lot of facts videos, but basically Clash of Clans went global but didn't have Android support yet. It was only about 14 months later when they finally announced the game would be coming to Android. Now I'm gonna be real with you guys, this one didn't really give me a whole lot of nostalgic feelings, but I wanted to include it anyways because I saw a lot of people commenting about this in a previous video, so yeah. The transition from iPhone 4 to iPhone 5. Every now and then screen sizes change and the game also changes that size depending on the size of the screen. This is because the game has various sizes already built in. So when you get an Android or an iPhone or an iPad, the game won't have black bars around it. When Clash of Clans came out though, the iPhones that could support the game were all one size. So when the iPhone 5 finally came out, well, you had these hideous black bars around the game. If you're an OG and remember playing that early on, you may remember this. Good times, eh? So guys, I think that should be it for this list of 17 things only OGs might remember. Of course, if you watch a lot of fact videos, you may know a lot of these even if you aren't an OG, but if you have any OG things that I might have missed, definitely comment them down below, but of course make sure to check out my other 3 episodes as well. At this point I've mentioned like what, 17 times 4, that's 68 things. So yeah, just definitely let me know if I missed anything. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching. Have a good day out. Peace!